And welcome to MotoGP. Is it free practice 2? Yeah, it's free practice 2 in France. And there's a lot of conflict today with scheduling. So, getting me for like 5 minutes, I think, and then Joshua for the rest of it. And I shall go cover, I believe it's Formula E. So, this is seeming quite good right now. 49 fastest Antonio is obviously trying to be on a fastest lap. Everyone seems to be doing orange sector times. Marquez has just gone to the top of the screen, both of them, with a 1:33.158. Jack Miller has just topped the session even more with a 1:32.953. Acosta in second. Acosta, let's see if this weekend he can set some good times. Especially, and he's going to need all the practice he can get, especially with the position he got last time out. He's been doing so well, and last time out he just got 10th, which is honestly a surprise. I'm thinking maybe that was the circuit that he was at. That was more of a problem than anything else. Sometimes it can be. Fastest lap has now changed to a 1:32.734 with Johan Martin in first. Got a quite varied top four, I would say, in speed. Though we're only just starting out in this free practice session. There are red sector times for a majority of the field right now, except Quartararo, who's doing orange, and Mia, who's, well, only doing one orange sector time, though slow in every other, sector. Marc Marquez has just gone fastest with a 1:31.872, quickly overtaken by Jack Miller yet again. Apparently that KTM is fast. He overtook with a 1:32.833. A lot of people setting faster time limits now, getting their tyres all warmed up. No one seems, thankfully, to have had any wobbles, so let's hope that nothing happens. I'm going to touch wood. And if I'm not as energetic, I have been ill and am ill currently still. So, that is why. And it's like a bad type of like, not bad, it's just like bad for commenting. Came on at Sunday. So. Right. So, everyone still seems to be maintaining their pace, making their way around the field. I should say track, shouldn't I, instead of field, but it's it's the field of where they are. So technically it is field. It's weird. It is very weird for terminology. Right, Marquez, Alex that is, tries to get a faster time, but can only manage going into 6th. Morbidelli manages to make his way up into 3rd place, quickly overtaken by Acosta though. It seems that the Prima Pramix are really trying to pull their weight here when it comes to things. Here's a replay of... Oh, that was quite close together on the pit lane. I'm not sure whether that was allowed. I'm not actually sure who that was because it never told me, though it says 43 on it, so it would have been the VR46s, one of them. I get the weird feeling that was D'Antonio, because I could have sworn for a second I saw 49. Good number, 49. Fernandez, makes his way up into 4th place with a... Oh, official info. Cancel lap time for rider 30 due to track limits. So that would be Nakagami. He hasn't really set a fastest one, or I think any, because he's in 20 seconds, so I'm not sure that's really a big priority for him right now, actually. I don't think he really cares. It's like, what lap time is important enough right now? It's like, it wasn't high to begin with. Jack Miller, yet again, set the fastest lap with a 1:31.399. And yet again, he overtook Marquez very quickly on being fastest. So obviously, when it comes to who's fastest around these corners, at least in this session, it is obviously the KTMs. And it is a replay of turn 8 with Marc Marquez. Was that a wobble? Oh, he went onto the green, going around turn 8. Okay, so that explains why he was so slow in the last lap and was able to be taken over by Jack Miller so quickly in timings. It's still impressive that he managed to get second with that time. How fast is his bike right now? That's what I want to know. Right. Alex Marquez and Bagnaia are both setting red sectors 1 and 2. Alex just set an orange sector 3 of those, so let's see if Bagnaia can do any better. Maybe he can take fastest lap. Quartararo makes it into 6th position right now. Right. You're on button 9. I'll be back soon.
Thrown a lot of people off. That's the reality. It's funny because the number one complaint, and you're going to love this for a line, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Exactly. What's wrong with that tyre? Too much side grip. Too much side grip. Edge grips. Yeah, the edge grip, that's the line. Too much edge grip. Hang on. And that's a problem? Well, actually, it is. Because
the golden elixir that you're searching for.
Yeah.
Well.
You mean, the thing you've always asked for more of, we've given it to you. Now there's too much of it. And essentially what it's done is it's thrown the balance of the bikes off. It's created too much grip at the rear, which is now pushing the front, making the bike harder to turn. It's created a vibration, a chatter with some of the motorcycles, and it's taken people a while, and some of the manufacturers.
Alex Marquez down. That is at Garage Vert, but it looks like on the exit part, like the second part of that. Remember when Cal Crutchlow had
that horrendous high side there, didn't he?
That stuff of nightmares. Let's have a look at this one. It looked like the exit to me. Maybe it is the...
Hopefully it's about here where the track drops when he loses the front, but no, it's not. It's going to be...
It's on the curbs. Yeah. On the curb, yeah.
And those curbs are one of those you used.
Yeah, easy. That curb you don't want to touch, but it happens sometimes. We saw, remember, a few years ago, Marc Marquez did a really good save there. And yeah, that can happen. That curb is rough. You really don't want to touch it. There's maximum leaning. You're leaning to get into the turn 8 is like a double right that sort of closes in, and yeah, you get very close to it.
I remember that being the curb there where Casey Stoner was insistent that they built some asphalt on the outside of it, and he was insistent, why have we not got gravel just at the edge of the track there? You know, it should be punished for going over the edge of the racetrack. It was one of the first places. Now it's the long lap loop.
Yeah.
So you have that running around the outside of Garage Vert. But I remember it was there in particular, it was one of those places.
Easy to get it wrong there, because it's a very hard braking zone. You know, from full fourth gear to well, normally it's second, and it's a very slow corner. You can overtake, but you can overcook it as well very easily there. We saw, well, 2 years ago, that's where Pecco Bagnaia made his mistake trying to get back at Bastianini, and then he ended up crashing a few corners later.
Well, we see so many people trying to squeeze it to fit in there, trying to turn in when they clearly haven't scrubbed off enough speed. Let's have a look here at Fabio Quartararo, down towards the same place. He gave the fans something to cheer about yesterday, though, didn't he? Getting straight through to Q2, and there it is right on Q. He was doing that for you, Sylvain, to back up your point.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, for Fabio yesterday, he rode really, I mean, he rode the wheels off that Yamaha. He was only 4/10 off, And every time we've seen him on screen, he just looked like he was fighting that bike so much. That bike does not look like the friendly Yamaha of all times. You know, it doesn't turn nicely, just really having to muscle that bike around. And that's one of the reasons both riders, actually, Alex Rins and Fabio Quartararo, since the start of the season, they've been complaining of arm pain, arm pump. And they both had the surgery actually done previously. So yeah, the bike is not easy to ride, and Fabio put on a really good show yesterday and a great performance to be going straight into Q2.
Yeah, it was. He had the new swing arm in the morning, discarded it for the afternoon. I spoke to Alex Rins and he said I didn't like it from the start anyway, so that feels like another bit of aluminium being chucked in the bin.
Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to find solutions like that, you're gonna have some step back as well, and it's right on the edge there. Look at that front tire just going to the edge of the curve here. Loads and loads of leaning.
Yeah, looks like it. Hello, everyone. JB back in the box. Thanks, Megan, for controlling that one. While we set up for Formula E in their first part of the qualifying session. My goodness me, is it one of those weekends where we are all so busy. JT, I believe, will start shortly on the action for the British Touring Car Championship, as Johan Zarco down in 20th place at the moment. So this is the first half of the day, as we then see Alex Marquez, who just crashed out on the circuit, going back in as well. No red flags out, but only Vinales and Bezzecchi are currently out there on the circuit.
Corner, so you can make a difference if you can activate your tires on the left side quicker. But then once everybody's up to speed here, the grip is quite constant actually. There's not a lot of tire degradation here, so you can keep the same lap time for a really long time, and then it becomes physical. It's a physical track, and you have to muscle the bike around here to generate the lap time. So it's a tough race around here physically for the riders, because the tires are so constant as well.
The whole field, bar Luca Marini, 0.8 of a second.
Unreal, isn't it?
But
20
it's
riders.
It's not the shortest track or anything like that. It's not the shortest lap time. It is, you know, it's a decent size. It's 2.6 miles, over 4 kilometres, you know.
Yeah, it's a nice circuit, this one as well. That's what we're going to be seeing as we are halfway through this session. So Alex Marquez, 131.266 despite crashing. Then it's Bagnaia, Vinales, Aleix Espargaro, Jack Miller, Hoy Martin, Pedro Costa, Marc Marquez, Fabio Quartararo, and Enea Bastianini. They have the top 10 at the moment. Dropping down, we then have Ralph Fernandez, Franco Morbidelli, Miguel Oliveira, Brad Binder, Marco Bezzecchi, Fabio Di Gianantonio, Juan Mir, Augusto Fernandez, Alex Rins, Johan Zarco, Luca Marini, and no time set yet for Takiki Nakagami, but he is out there on the circuit. Vinales just now coming through Garage Vier at turn 8, starting to push hard. And also, don't forget, we've got the qualifying segment coming up straight after this here on Twitch. And for the first time, there won't be as big of a gap because we don't need to change around for YouTube going into Twitch. So basically, there'll be like we'll just play the intro again to get everyone ready for the YouTube show, because of course that is split in two. So you at home won't see too much of a difference watching on Twitch, and that's going to be the same for the next few races, of course, while we make sure that nothing interferes with the Indy 500 and the Le Mans race as well. Now, I'm just trying to have a look here to see where the qualifying area is. Qualifying and sprint race updates, that's what I need here on the TV screens. There we go. Live blog back up. Say, we know what we're on about. To go into it, Bagnaia now circulating. As we see, Lucio Ciacinello, the LCR team principal, watching on down in the LCR garage. Actually, to be correct, he's at the Castrol side. That's Johan Zarco's side of the garage. As we see Pecco Bagnaia coming out of the last two corners and just puts the revs on and pushes hard at the exit. Looking a good time there as well. So yeah, it's been a bit of a confusing one, to be honest with you, getting this all sorted as we come into it. Actually, I've just found a solution to a problem, so I'm going to go fix... I can't do that now. Oh, no! Because I've just found a solution to a problem that we've been having in order to allow everybody else to have a go with everything. I suppose it wouldn't take too long to get that sorted. No, Milo could freeze everything trying to do it. Yeah, well, that's something to try, actually, in the next stages. Group B, especially. Basically, them lot in there don't have audio from the track, but I've just found the very lead that would give us audio from said track as well. So, turns out they do have audio. With a line input graphic here. Turn that down. Turn that up to there. Plug that here. And, hey presto, they've got it. So, yeah, simple solutions to two different problems. Bagnaia improving quite quickly now. Medium front, soft rear tyre. I've got the brake to do that in 11 minutes, so that's okay. Marc Marquez, 1.6 seconds down at the moment. And he's trailing me, actually, so it's Bagnaia, then it's Marc Marquez on the circuit. Bagnaia crosses the line first, doesn't improve. Does Marc Marquez? No. He stays down in 8th position, 1:31.48. As his fastest time, his last lap time was a 1:33.563, as you can tell on the deltas. Oh, God, we have got the sector times open. I wasn't too sure if we did or not. Oh, hello. Thanks, JT. 2024 French Grand Prix. Forgot to change the Twitch titles. Thank you, JT. You weren't watching IndyCar, you're watching MotoGP. But you knew that, didn't you, back at home? That time cancelled for Bagnaia due to exceeding the track limits as well. So just a little bit longer to go. Alex Marquez, still the fastest one, back in the pit lane. 10 in the session remaining. Not many are actually pushing quite hard. We're on board now with Pietro Acosta as he comes across the line. And does a 1:32.176 as well. Nakagami's down the title. So a little bit left. Acosta still 7th. Oh, and he's just trail breaking in as well. Just keep swimming. That's all you've got to do. Keep on running. And Costa and Bagnaia now back into the pit lane. So this second practice session, track temperature is at 29 degrees, air temperature 20 degrees, 57% is the chance of rain. Wind blowing at 1 kilometre southeast of here as well at Le Mans, as Acosta trail breaking into Garage Vier massively. Lap time cancel for Martin for exceeding track limits, and the same will be for Acosta now because he's run wide at the back half of the track. The Gas fans and the Pietro Acosta fans watching on in the grandstands, absolutely loving it with some in-ear defenders as they come into it. Nakagami though, 5.6 seconds down. Pietro Acosta still pushing hard. He'll want to pick up immediately and go for a further run on the next lap to make sure everything's okay there. Nakagami, though, still on the course. Let's take a look at actually what's happening with Nakagami. This is down to Garage Vier. Yeah, front braking, pulls up the rear twitches, steps out. Off he goes onto the long lap loop. Easy thing to do, sadly. We've seen it several times before. As the touring cards have started over on YouTube. Nicely done, JT. Now, we saw Acosta do it beforehand anyway. Still a lot to do here. 21 riders within a second of each other out of the 22. So Nakagami and Marini brings it in. I think Marini's brought it in now. Let's have a look between the gap between first. No, 1.5. Yeah. So everyone down to Zarco's within a second. Can Marini bring that within all riders within a second of each other in this opening free practice 2 session? It's going to make qualifying 1 and qualifying 2 coming up extremely exciting as Acosta turns into the S Blue chicane. Marc Marquez is 0.036 of a second down at the moment, so he's not losing too much time. Bastianini's up by 22 thousandths of a second as well, so there are some delta points still changing out here. Can Acosta find anything? Fernandez trailing his teammate. Oh, and Acosta nearly drops the front as well. Coming into the Recruitment, the last two corners across the line for Pietro Acosta. Stays in 7th position. Looking good so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's got a look about him, a style, a swagger, which Pedro doesn't. Pedro's got his scruffy jeans on and a pair of Vans, and he's like...
driving his old van.
Literally drives his van
you
to the
can
races.
imagine that Jorge Martin now probably quite likes a smart, swanky gym, and you can imagine Pedro in his garage with his free weights.
Yeah.
Can't you? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Good, isn't it? But he's definitely in a position where he's going to attract some new fans to this sport. He's going to appeal to the younger audience. And I think he's going to appeal to everyone. Is Pedro if he carries on doing what he's doing. It's a pleasure to watch.
And he's got a great one-liner here and there. His English isn't perfect just yet. That even helps him at points, as it did with Valentino Rossi back in the day. We've seen so many people now down into Garage Ver. Is there something this morning?
No.
People trying to make the front soft work or something?
It's not. Do you know what it is? You're going to love it. Everyone's on the limit and they're trying to find some time. So how do you find time? You either get on the throttle a bit earlier, you have a brake a little bit later, you carry a little bit more corner speed. And we've seen the best riders in the world experimenting, flirting, trying the three things I've just said. And this track is very narrow, especially at Garage Ver. You've got a bump in the braking zone, which sometimes if you carry a bit more speed over that, you can kick the rear off the ground. There you go, you could just see it and clip it then. I'm just thinking about Pedro. You can't, when you said he's got some some classic one-liners. I mean, describing your first MotoGP on a par of, it's very similar to losing your virginity. Basically, was such a Pedro line, and he meant it. It didn't go quite according to plan, basically.
A lot of action with the body from Enea Bastianini. He and Jorge Martin do take these things to extremes as Marc Marquez comes across the line. Look at that, 4th, and he's within a 10th of Alex Marquez, and you feel like Enea Bastianini's going to slot it in there too, and Jorge Martin's not far off. So many riders are right in the mix this weekend, and Bastianini does slot it right in the mix there. So that's 5 riders within .077. And Martin makes it 6 riders within a 10th at the top.
That's incredible.
6 riders within a 10th of a second, including riders like Alex Marquez and Marc Marquez, who are going to have to go through Q1 now. So Alex Marquez becomes another of the riders in that 15-minute Q1 session, which is up next, that is going to want a piece of the Q2 action. You've got Maverick Vinales in there on the Aprilia also. Aleix Espargaro not too far behind. It's so tough to call.
So with 6 riders within a 10th, we've got 11 riders within 2/10ths.
Yeah, Augusto Fernandez has matched Pedro Acosta's time. I remind you, Augusto took his best result so far in MotoGP here 1 year ago with 4th.
And if you're Marco Bezzecchi, you're riding round in 18th place at the moment, and you're inside half a second.
You mean last year's race winner?
That's the one. Guy who finished 3rd in the world. He was riding well. Do you know why I know he's riding well? He's less than half a second off the fastest in this session. But unfortunately, right now, that puts him down in 18th.
Marc Marquez struggled a little bit, as we said yesterday, but the one thing he's got, which he might not have had necessarily so much at Honda, is he can see Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, and Enea Bastianini's data, and that could have well helped overnight.
Yeah, do you know what happened yesterday? He had a strong morning, and then he crashed relatively early on in the next session. And then I think, with watching him ride, he looked like he was trying to ride a Honda again. He was rushing all the corners. It looked a bit scrappy. It looked like he'd just forgotten how to ride the Ducati.
Is that because it's a front-endy circuit?
Definitely, yeah.
Hard, downhill braking.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why Mark was always good round here on the Honda, and that you made all this time. But then he was trying to do that on the Ducati. And we know the Ducati is all about being patient in the braking zones and using the bike's strength, which is grip and exits,
front endy will appear in the next edition of the Oxford English Dictionary. I'm telling you that one. I know Bastianini rounds Museum Corner. He's recovered, hasn't he, from that spill yesterday. He knew, though. He said, look, I made a mistake, hands up. We were trying the softer option tyre. It wasn't the one. That's fine. And he's straight back on it this morning. I think, even coming into this weekend, we were discussing things. And I know Bastianini was mentioned a couple of times by our crew. Previous winner here. Very, very solid start to the season,
Really?
isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet, everyone's talking about him not having a ride next year.
Absolutely. It's sort of like it's almost like that's a done deal. He won't be riding the Factory Ducati next year. What he needs is a win. And he could win this weekend, Bastianini, just to throw his name back into the cap. 'Cause if he manages to win this weekend, he'll be certainly first or second in the championship. And you'd have to argue, well, would you not want to keep him?
Didn't ride here, of course, last year. Bastianini was injured from Portugal as Pecco Bagnaia. Right in the mix. There's a calm, confidence, serenity oozing out of Pecco at the moment after that win. Like he's puffed his chest out and stamped his authority on this category after what happened 2 weeks ago in Spain. That was a real statement of intent, that performance in front of all the Spanish fans.
Yeah, under maximum pressure, being attacked by one of the most aggressive riders in the history of this sport. There we go. I got a fast with that last sector then.
Found a tenth of a second in there.
Made up some time. And under that maximum pressure, he strung together 5 absolutely perfect laps. Set the fastest lap of the race at a difficult period of the race where the tyres are worn, and didn't make a mistake.
Maverick Viñales also on a decent lap here. I think that 0.155 might be comparing to Bastianini as he goes through, and then he does still pick up time on Bagnaia to go top of the pile. Maverick's back again this weekend. He wasn't actually off too much in Jerez. He missed out with the mixed weather on the Saturday as Quartararo runs through the Shimano Berth S.
Yep, so less than a minute to go then in this opening session of the day. Quartararo's had his lap time cancelled. Maverick Viñales, top at the moment, 1:31.033. Bagnaia in P2, Bastianini third, as Di Giannantonio coming now to complete a lap time. Yeah, they had a problem. So I've just been fixing everything. I'm sweating through all this new shirt already. It's one of those days, everyone, where you just go with the flow, I suppose. DG into the last corner, gives it the welly, takes the checkered flag, and what's his lap time on the Deltas? 13th fastest across it as well. So, check flag, and Bagnaia settles second, Miller 8th, and several of the riders already into the pit lane. So if we turn this off to show you the full running order of things, as no one else is improving on lap times. Well, Martin's on a fastest second sector. We'll keep an eye on that. He's 58 thousandths off the pace. Gives you a rough idea of how things go. I need that button on a hotkey to come into it. Martin's estimated P3. He's on soft front rear. Lap time cancelled for Marco Bezzecchi for a shortcut on the circuit. So we've kept him in the mix of things. Quartararo 14th at the moment. The field continuing to push down. I was wondering why there was such a problem on the Formula E side of the broadcast as well. But at least now they've got the trackside audio higher as well, louder in their ears. And Martin abandons his lap time as well. And nobody else is on a competitive Delta time. So, end of free practice 2 then, going into qualifying. Maverick Viñales top, 1:31.033, followed then by Bagnaia, Bastianini, Martin, Alex Marquez, Marc Marquez, Aleix Espargaro, Miller, Raul Fernandez and Morbidelli have the top 10. Acosta is in 11th with Augusto Fernandez 12th, Di Giannantonio 13th, Quartararo 14th, Oliveira 15th, Brad Binder 16th, Bezzecchi 17th, Nakagami 18th, Mia 19th, Rins is 20th, Zarco 21st and Marini in 22nd place. 19 riders all within a second of each other. What are we going to get when we go into qualifying? That's coming up next here on JB Motorsports. Stay tuned for it all.